now call the meeting of the Common Council to order. Take the roll call, please.
Schmidt?
Here.
Schutte?
Here.
Banky?
Here.
Sievert? Here. Luke?
Here.
Barron?
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 3rd, 2020, regular meeting as presented.
I'll make that motion. Just had one correction on it though.
I will second that with a correction.
Well, yes, just make the motion with the correction of the minutes from partly down the first page, the minutes had Luke for seconding, and it should have been Banky. Right here.
For which one?
The March 3rd minutes should have had, under approving the minutes of February 4th, the second should have said Banky, not Luke.
All the person Luke was absent.
So as amended. Debbie?
As amended. Deb, you're second or you're first? First. Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Barron?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Schutte?
Aye.
Banky?
Aye.
Sievert?
Aye.
Luke?
Aye.
I'll also entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 1st, 2020 special meeting as presented.
I'll make that motion.
No support.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Schutte?
Aye.
Banky?
Aye.
Sievert?
Aye.
Luke?
Aye.
Barron?
Abstain. Business and communication as presented by Mayor Melky. Discuss and consider Arbor Day proclamation. Could we ask George to come in for a minute?
Sure.
Rick, would you want to ask George to come in?
He should be hearing it out there.
Here he comes.
Oh,
Hello.
hi George.
The Arbor Day proclamation, the main reason for it is if we want to apply for Tree City USA status again, one of the 4 criteria is to have done a proclamation recognizing Arbor Day. So this is one step. Another is a tree planting program. Another is a tree board, which in our ordinance is our Streets and Drainage Committee. And the last is having a significant budget dedicated to forestry, which is approximately $2 per times your population, and we achieve all of those. So if we do this record keeping and things we're doing, it shows the commitment to the forestry operations that we have in our community. And there is no fees to be a Tree City USA. It's just you apply and it's a designation though.
I'll make a motion that we apply for it.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Do we
Roll
usually
call.
get,
No, go ahead.
do we usually get trees every year?
We typically, we take more down more than we plant, unfortunately. This year we took down over 38 trees that were structural issues. But we will be planting. We did receive a grant from the American Transmission Company this year, and we targeted a stretch along the river. It's the second time we've targeted a stretch along the river, parallel to the park and northwest front. And the idea being to eventually get mature trees along the river. So when you're on the river, you look back, you see foliage, and when you're there, you have shades. So it's kind of a dual. So we were successful there.
Alderman Binky?
Also in the past, have we used that for the green area between the sidewalk and the roads,
We-
or the removal of some of them that are either so large that they're breaking up stuff or whatever it may be, or dead.
We've used other grants, we used DNR grants to do a hazardous tree inventory. And that was, I'm dating myself now, it was probably about 8 years ago. But, and we took those trees out that were identified at that time, you know. And it's ongoing with
And
the,
also with the ash borer.
well, the emerald ash borer has been identified now in Marinette County up close on 180 near the heritage area there. So, within a year or so, it will be here. And we probably, over the next year, will want to work on our ordinance and talk to other communities and see how they've handled it. Our ordinance is pretty old. The last time it was updated was the Dutch elm disease in the 70s. So some places are handling it totally different now. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Any other questions? Take the roll call, please.
Shooty,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barrett,
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Mr. Bush, could you see if anybody signed up to talk to the clerk on the floor, please? It's outside the door.
No.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to committee reports. Water and sewer met March 31st, 2020. We approved the minutes of the March 10th, 2020 meeting. In the form of a motion, recommend council direct the city to research its records to determine if a written easement agreement exists. Absent findings such as a written agreement, that the city attorney be directed to take all necessary legal action, including the legal establishment of the easement and/or eminent domain proceedings to obtain the necessary access for completion of the sewer improvement.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Where is this easement that we're looking for?
On Pedro Paper Mills property?
Okay.
Any other discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barrett,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Shooty.
Aye.
I'd just like to take a minute to thank Alderman Schuey for her years of experience here in helping the city move forward. And she's still going to represent us at the county level. So I'll adjourn, sign down before council. And we'll go right into the new council.
You can move where the lawyer was last time, right?
What's that?
Powerful position over there. the lawyer
She said,
said.
you can move where a lawyer used to sit.
Are all newly elected members oaths filed? And
Yes.
Mr. Alderman Burke, please take your seat. Could you take the roll call, please?
Schmidt,
Aye. Or here.
Berth,
Here.
Banky,
Here.
Siebert. Here. Luke,
Here.
Barrett.
Here.
Welcome again to those newly elected. For business and communications as presented by Mayor Melke, I'll call for nominations from the floor for president of the council.
I'll nominate myself.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? I'll ask one more time. Any other nominations?
Can you nominate yourself?
You can.
I nominate myself.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? We'll close the nominations. Should we take a silent vote or just go around?
We do paper ballot too. Paper.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
do
Doesn't matter.
paper ballot. Should be some, reverse here.
Could have torn that.
Just use transfer so hopefully.
I think because there's an echo otherwise.
Yeah. I just wanted to. I mixed them up.
Are you gonna keep track?
Sure.
Mr. Berth? Mr. Berth? Mr. Banky? Mr. Banky? Mr. Banky? Mr. Banky?
4-2.
Congratulations, Alderman Banky. I'll entertain a motion to approve council committees as printed. Is everybody, I tried contacting everybody on what committees, because I did move a few people around.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the ethics committee members, and as you can see, I have selected Debbie Seward for this committee. To me, this is one of the most important committees that we selected for. It should be considered a great honor that we have high ethics. So, but I'll entertain that in a motion.
Also move.
Second.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to nominate and elect a member of the council to be on the plan commission.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm not entirely sure what the planning commission all does.
Our last meeting we held was across the street. He wanted to convert his restaurant bar into a apartment building.
Okay.
So it has to go through, anytime you change the zoning, everything has to go through the plan commission.
Okay.
Nominate Archer.
Second that. If I can.
Yeah.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke.
Aye.
Do we need one for the industrial park oversight, or does that fall under the other class?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do we need this one to get approved as well?
I think it's just gonna go under the others.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll entertain a motion to approve city appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I just wanted to take the time real quick to thank Mr. Maxwell. Deb Siebert's going to be on the UDA committee again. Board of Appeals will be Mr. Nagowski, Mr. Hanson. Debbie Felker's a new alternate this year for devoting their time for being on city committees. Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Bear.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the fire department listing as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I just think we're very blessed to have a department that is willing to give of their time like our department is to protect our city. So I appreciate everything they do. Take the roll call, please.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the police disciplinary review committee as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Does anything really happen on that committee? Does
Right
anyone
now,
ever get in trouble?
Thank goodness, no. We count our blessings on that.
Archie's got it under control.
That is one committee you don't want to
That's right.
have anything to do.
Take the roll call, please.
Banky,
Aye.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to approve all other commissions and committees as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Siebert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky.
Aye.
Discuss and set the 2020 border review date. Tammy and I were discussing that today. And what date did we come up with? I'm just gonna see who's on that committee.
Well, normally we have it earlier, but the rules are that you have to hold it within a 45-day period, starting on the fourth Monday of April, which is April 27th. And the 45th day would be June 10th. So we were looking at pushing it out pretty far, just to meet, and then we'll adjourn right away. Assessor Philip does have some reports he'll present, but we'll just more or less meet to adjourn to a little bit later date in July, and then hopefully by that time, you know, this COVID will be a little more past us. So we're looking at June 2nd meeting, just before the council meeting, at 6:30 p.m. And then we would adjourn until July 23rd at 1 p.m. That's a Thursday. Assessor Pill, if that was the first day of the July 23rd, if that wouldn't work for us, then he was looking after, some date after that.
Does that sound good
So
for
June 2nd at
Second.
6:30.
Wait a second. June 2nd. At 6:30.
6:30, yes, just before the council meeting at 7. It shouldn't take too long.
Right. The people that are members of the border review are myself,
Usually it's a 2-hour.
Jerry Pillith, Clerk Treasurer Tammy Castle, Michael Banky, Rick Berth, and Debbie Seaman.
So we're doing it the same night we're having it.
Well, the first meeting, we're just going to meet and adjourn. You can meet and adjourn past the 45 days, but you have to hold your first meeting within the 45-day period.
So it's just to open up our
So it's
committee.
just to open up the Board of Review, and Assessor Pilloth will present some reports. He said it won't take very long, like 10 minutes or so. And then we'll just adjourn, you just make a motion to adjourn to
To the
July
next date,
23rd.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, and then
We
the
just
July
never-
23rd would be the
We
next
just
one.
never had done it that way before, so it's all right.
Do you need a motion for that?
You can, otherwise we could just set it.
All right,
You wanna
we'll just
make a
set it
motion?
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you said July 23rd.
There's a,
At 1
have
PM.
you ever been on that before? There's
Thursday
an
at one.
online course that you can do, so you can
Yes.
go out, you know.
2 people have to be trained for that.
Verify
And I think they
for it.
actually said
It's really
change it that
easy.
everybody has to be there.
Oh, okay.
Open.
So I'll have the,
Nobody.
No, but
nobody
we'll tell.
fails.
Yeah.
Now,
What's
it's
it-
2 years.
Could you go check and see if anybody would like to be heard for this portion of the meeting, please?
Would anybody
You're
like to
headed
be heard
to
for this
Sherry now?
portion of the meeting?
Number 7.
Not until their section comes up.
Okay, thank you.
I believe it gives you either.
Judiciary?
Your window.
As newly appointed for that, I make a motion to adopt the resolution designating the official newspaper for 2020-21. Be it resolved that the Peshtigo Times be designated as the official newspaper for the city of Peshtigo for the ensuing year, 2020 to 2021, for the publication of council meetings and all public notices per Wisconsin State Statute 985.06.2.
Second.
Any discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
All right.
Seaver.
Aye.
Could we ask Chief Garden to come in? Thank you. You didn't know that was the
Come.
workout chair, did you?
Yeah.
While that's taking place, number 10 needs to be reworded. License
Yes.
and police.
Yeah.
Evening, Chief.
Good evening.
Alderman Byrd,
Hello.
you're now head of fire lighting and building.
Yes. In form of a motion, I would like to present the specification for one commercial equipment rescue unit.
Here a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
You know, in the motion, we're going to probably want to put the date,
Oh, you mean for a bid opening date?
bid opening date. So maybe we want to just let the chief talk before we finish the motion.
Oh, we
first
haven't
of all.
have a motion, so we can have discussion, so now we can. Chief Garden, do you want to add anything?
I hope everybody had a chance to look them over. And as you noticed, it's less than half of what the engine was for. So it worked out a lot better. I'm not sure what the timetable that the council is gonna be doing, but I'm thinking if we could possibly do something like we did last time, get bids back maybe like the third week or so of May, we could then get those bids, have a bid opening, we could review those bids, and then maybe there'd be enough time before the June 2nd council meeting to meet with fire lighting. Then they could maybe, check over those bids and see what's what, and then go from there to council. And I don't know if that timetable is too fast for the council or not, but I know that it's gonna take a while for us to get this truck also, because the manufacturers, whether it's a GM product or a Ford product or whatever, they're not working right now. And, you know, we're kind of at their mercy at this point. So, but it's up to the council. Yes?
I'd like to get the order in sooner than later and at least get up in the queue on that personally, instead of waiting until all kinds of back orders get put in ahead of us.
Alderman Mackey?
3 weeks would be enough?
I think, I mean, if we get the okay tonight, I'm sure that, you know, I can get the information to our city clerk, Tammy, and some of the bidders have been contacting me already, that I'm sure that some of them could possibly go out this week yet, if it's approved tonight. And then we'll get a jump on it, and then as far as, are you thinking like maybe the week of the 18th?
Yes.
That's fine, that's fine with me, because I don't think they're gonna, it's not quite as detailed as it is when you're speccing on an engine. This truck is a smaller, and I don't think it'll be as tough for them to get a bid in here.
Because I was thinking that, have a bid opening date of Monday, May 18th.
That's fine.
Alderman Berth, are you good with that? You're chairperson of this committee?
What's that?
Are you good with those dates? You're chairperson of the committee?
Yeah. Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Like at 3 o'clock or something.
That's fine.
Does that work for you? What,
Yeah, sure.
mornings,
It
afternoons?
doesn't matter, I'll be flexible.
Afternoons would work great for me.
That's fine, that's
Okay.
fine. Sure.
Any other discussion?
But we could probably even, you know, as a committee, you know, go through them and then do the specs at that time and then get it over with so it can come back, council be done
Council
with.
on the set,
So,
sure.
rather than just opening them and having you review them, we could open them and review them at the
Sure.
same time.
Sure, that's,
We can all take a look together and see, yeah.
that's fine, that's fine.
Still different than we normally do, but I think that'd
It'll-
be
it'll
best
expedite
with
it.
what we're doing right now.
It'll expedite,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like how your department looked at the last bids for the new fire truck, because you caught things that we wouldn't have caught.
Oh,
You know, things that company changed in your bid guidelines, so, and we wouldn't have known that.
and after going through them so many times, you kind of remember them by
Right.
heart, you know? Same thing with these.
Right. Any other discussion?
Is that gonna be in our motion now? Can we,
Did you write those dates and times down?
Do you want it in the motion?
Yes.
Or,
Or do you want to just
because if we have it in the motion, then you
have
can't
to live
change
by
it.
it? So,
yeah, amend the motion into effect of, you know, so it reflects the date and time of Monday, opening at Monday at May 18th, with bid opening at 3 o'clock.
So if we can't do it that day, then we're gonna have to come back and make a new
Well,
motion?
We can
That's not-
still do our distancing with our committee.
No, I know, I just mean if for some reason somebody's not available, or a couple people aren't available,
Oh.
and that's all I'm thinking of.
Put a contingency in.
Any day that week, I guess, we could pick another day.
or just plan it like Tam's suggesting. But everybody doesn't really know their schedule maybe this far ahead, but just wait till it gets a little closer for the date. So, is that what you're suggesting?
Well, so I'm just thinking, because otherwise, I mean, if you have a set date in there, I guess we could do the bid opening that day, we don't necessarily have to have a meeting, so we could put it in there. But then I'll need a motion to amend it.
And make sure at least Alderman Berth is able to be there, so that if you don't make it a meeting, then you don't have one person attend it. So,
Right. But that'll work.
Okay.
So far, as right now, you said you could, right?
Yeah.
I can, let's see who else other purpose. Bridget?
Any other discussion?
So I'm
I'm
gonna
still
amend it.
in the middle of it.
You
I mean,
still
on our
right?
committee, I'm talking about our committee.
Are you gonna, is somebody gonna amend the motion then?
I thought I just did.
I just have a question on why make it a meeting just to open the bids?
because we're
not gonna
gonna,
really look at them that day. People are
That,
gonna,
no, they had
We
said they
are.
were gonna open and review at the same time.
oh, wait, we want the fire department to look at them first?
they're gonna be there, he's gonna be there, he's gonna have his captain.
Yeah, well, I'll have some representatives there with me.
No,
If that
it's gonna be
works,
pretty time consuming.
works for you.
Oh, I just preferred, I liked it last time, how you pointed things out when you brought it to the table.
And we can do that. Like I say, whatever the council would prefer.
So whatever the committee wants. Alderman Schmidt?
So the issue would be if we made that the bid opening, then nobody will have seen it until right then.
Correct.
And
Yes.
the fire department will have to go through it line by line with us.
Yes.
Whereas the other alternative would be to let them open it before the meeting and review it, and then bring their recommendations to us.
I think reviewing is gonna take quite a while,
Yeah,
so.
I mean, this
I mean,
is what
I
we
think that
open.
even if you still wanted to have the opening on the 18th, if that's the case, you want us to review them for a couple of days, that's fine. And then you could, if you wanted to set your formal fire lighting meeting either for the end of that week or the beginning of the following week, and I still would give enough time, I think, for the council to act on the June 2nd.
Yeah, have a fire like a week after, like 25th, 26th. Go
As long as it's enough time for,
enough time for you to, because you know what you're looking at.
right,
You know, that's, that's the
right.
thing.
I don't know if I'll be able to be there or not, just because my hours at the Y are,
Yeah.
I don't know, so.
You'd have an idea of what you could do that day?
I can't say, I don't know when the Y will reopen,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I'll be there if I can. I'm assuming I will be available, but I can't say for sure.
I'm basically okay, I mean, if you are, open them, just open them at 3 o'clock on the 18th. Either Alderman Berth could be there, or Tammy, it's all right, Tammy's there with the opening too, it just need somebody that's there from. And then we could meet like the 21st on a Thursday. That way we're there plenty of time before.
It'll give us plenty of time, sure.
Does that give you enough time to review all of them?
Because
Sure.
the following week, we got Memorial
Day, yeah.
Memorial Day on the 25th, so.
And is that enough time for the council though, for the meeting due for the second then?
Well, the council, will be,
June 2nd.
Yeah, so we'll go through it and
Yeah.
we'll make a decision on the
On the vendor then.
21st or 20, yeah,
even
21st.
22nd's fine, but, to give you a little bit more time, that gives us, the council a whole week after, 26th to the 29th, or whatever, to review the specs if they're available in our packet, or have them drop them off at our house, whatever way we can get their information. And I think that'll be plenty of time for everybody to go over the specifications.
So then for sure you want the bid opening then on 18th at 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the big part of it. So that will put that as amending the motion to that effect.
So you're making the motion to add bid opening on May 18th at 3 PM,
Yes.
and then I need a second.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Take the roll call, please.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Sievert,
Aye.
Luke.
Aye.
So then,
Now we get back to the main motion.
yes, now you have to, that was just, everybody was agreeing to change it, now we have to actually vote on that motion as it was amended.
Any more discussion on that, or go right to the vote? Go ahead, you can take roll call whenever you're ready.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Sievert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are we, do we make a, date for the 20th?
You can just follow that. You can
Streets
call
and
that a
drainage?
zone.
Would you want to ask Director Cowell to come in?
Director Cowell?
Yeah.
He can hear us.
Here he comes.
Yeah, that's Jerry, just make that,
He's
you
scared.
know,
I know.
just kind of keep
It,
up.
it
with
echoes
the
kind of
reference
thing
to
with
it.
the.
You know, I'm gonna be good with it. So,
I heard somebody.
Thank
you.
John?
You know,
All right.
it'll move smooth.
Mike?
So, for streets and drainage, we're gonna discuss and consider garbage truck bids.
Okay.
Okay, anything, this is all on you now.
Well, okay, well, the first decision you're going to want to look at probably, well, it's dual, but the board hasn't decided yet what method of garbage collection they're going to implement. Whether it's to stay with the rear loaders, with two guys tipping garbage by hand, or to go with an automated system with one driver and an automated sidearm type truck. After you've made that decision, the bids are there for, the first page is automated side trucks, and the back of that page has the prices on rear loader trucks. There's a significant difference between the trucks. Keep in mind though that if you, the sidearm truck is sized to potentially handle the whole city in one load. With the rear loaders, you're looking at 2 trucks eventually. As a backup, if you have a side loader, you still got to keep a rear loader around, probably put a tipper on the back of it. That's you could put them on, retrofit an old truck with that. It just goes on the back and grabs the bar, doesn't clamp around the can. So those are the 2 methods that are out there. If you have any questions, I can try and field them. Presently, it takes us 3 days to pick up the refuse. 2 men are 8 hours a day, and 1 man is 6 hours a day. If you went with the automated, we estimate potentially 1 man 8 hours a day for 3 days.
Alderman Schmidt?
I have heard only positive on the recycle bins, so I would suggest going with the sidearm truck. I don't know how anybody else feels, but I know we were supposed to discuss it today.
Yeah, I would like to know if there has been other responses from that. I haven't heard either way.
We can ask the Peshtigo Times to put something in the paper too, just if anybody would like to make a comment, because they didn't really have the opportunity. You know, but I've heard, I'll agree with Richard, I've heard only good also. So,
The only thing I've heard was that how big they are. So what would the garbage units be like?
Right.
Probably the same size.
Could you get smaller ones as far as containers? You know, like you have.
Yeah, you have, right now we have a hand, approximately 30 60-gallon containers out on the, 25 of them are out on the street, and the rest are all 90-gallon. But we haven't had, after the initial distribution, we had a handful of people call in to get the 60, but since then we have,
It's small, yeah.
it's been well received.
Alderman Schmidt, you had a question?
I haven't had any comments about the size, but I know that we fill it to the top as far as recycling. So I just think having the option would be good, but we definitely need to think about having the bigger one because we would only be picking up what fits in the container.
Alderman Stewart?
So the garbage is picked up every week, so we wouldn't have to have a 90-gallon, would we? I mean, people are already leaving them out in their yard because they don't have room, they say.
Right.
They're all over.
Well, mine have never fit in my garage, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this is every week, you wouldn't have to have a large one like the recycling one.
I wouldn't think so.
I would, you know, I don't.
I don't know, as I drive around the city every week, the families that have larger families have the same amount of garbage refuge every week. So is there a possibility of letting people sign up for, you know, maybe that single person could sign up for a smaller container?
But yes, and you have enough advance time with this because if you went to sidearm, the one that was the demo truck has been sold, so that's no longer available, just so you know. So we're looking at production, and it's anybody's guess on time frame right now. It's probably quite a ways out. I did contact all 3 of the vendors that bid on the different trucks. Their bids, other than the demo truck, are still available at those prices. The other thing you'd have to do is if you do go to sidearm, you're gonna have to work on your ordinances. You're gonna have to work and make decisions on different types of businesses, how many cans they get, and if they want more, what price they may have to pay for that. You know, you're gonna have to set some limits on refuse, you know, whether it be 2 cans for a normal business or something like that. You know, if they want more or have to have more, then they can pay per month or something, but things like that would have to be worked out.
Alderman Bear?
How are those things worked out right now?
Recycling's only residential,
Okay, but now we're talking about garbage.
right?
So how is garbage taken care of right now?
Garbage right now, we pick up from anybody reasonable amounts. We've never had any issues. We do have a couple of places, predominantly food establishments, that we pick up on Monday and Friday.
Okay.
But basically, the larger industries and stuff have dumpsters. They don't try to send the refuse to the city. It's not convenient for them, and you know, to try and put it in cans and things like that.
What would be your recommendation at this point?
Well, I'm comfortable with either method. If one of the benefits of the sidearm is that it does free up some men for my department. We have a lot of work out there that I have a list on my computer that's about 10 pages long of things we could do. It's a matter of getting to them. And the other thing that's happening at the state level on the water and sewer side is the requirements for different programs just keeps expanding. They keep, you keep getting dictated to have to do these things, but no additional money is provided you, obviously, but it takes manpower to do those. You know, we've implemented in the last 10 years directional flushing, which takes quite a bit of time in the spring. We've implemented cross-connection inspections. We've implemented, we're going to be starting the sump pump inspections because of our sewer overflow. Well inspections, but well registration. So there's a lot of things that have come about that may have been in the codes before, but for years it wasn't strongly enforced, and it is now.
See, for myself, George, it's not the 10 pages of what we're behind. It's the safety of our employees.
Well, there's also safety issues.
Because a lot of our employees that are on refuge for years have lifelong back problems. And if we
Well,
can prevent that.
anytime you replace the physical movement with a mechanical machine, you're obviously minimizing that exposure.
Alderman,
When does our next water bill go up?
it just did, so.
I don't know if there would be, you talked about people signing up about what size they wanted. That would be nice if George could, if we could work on the details while if we do decide to go with the truck, work out the details before it comes. That way we're a little bit more prepared, and then maybe we can use some of the knowledge we learned from recycling. But when we were talking about size, since we're discussing right now, I was just gonna add that as the recycling representative told us, usually you only maybe use a certain amount, but you need to buy a can big enough to account for holidays and things like that, because that's what you get, so.
Otherwise you're only go until next month,
Yeah.
or next week, everything.
Yeah, or, you know, Christmas packaging and all of that, kind of plan for the biggest you'll ever need it. John has something.
Alderman Bear.
And currently, I've seen this problem besides just at my own home, with the every 2 weeks with the recycling. Those cans aren't big enough as they are in our household. I mean, that thing is full by at least the Wednesday before recycling pickup, so I can't imagine. I mean, I'm literally having to throw recyclables away because I don't have space for them, they won't take them out of the other bins anymore. So that's where I can't imagine somebody only wanting a 60-gallon refuge can.
George, can they purchase a second recycling unit?
Not at present.
We haven't made, sorry, that was on our list of things to do before
Yeah.
we were gonna discuss how to make that available to.
But we haven't met since that meeting.
We're-
Quite a while ago.
We are still waiting to hear back from the recycling company on whether they could ever take any more, though also, correct? Because wasn't that 3 months or?
We could ask them again. Initial was no, but we could ask again. They wanted to get some time in the routes to see how it was going.
Okay.
Alderman Menke.
Yes, like what you're just saying about, you're a receptacle. At my office, it's completely, completely flip-flop. I would fill up that 60-gallon with refuge more than I do recyclables. But we don't drink canned pop and stuff like that, or you utilize a lot of, I don't drink sodas, out of the bottle.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't use that, and most of it's just refuge from food wrappers and stuff like that are going in there. So I send my recyclables out probably every 4 weeks, if I'm lucky. The garbage every 2 weeks.
So I can bring mine over there.
Bring it over to my house, put it in mine.
Alderman Bear.
I just want to remind you at the same time, I want to remind everyone at the same time that our recycling system accepts plastics 1 through 7. So that's even your yogurt container. You can rinse it out and recycle it. So just so everybody, they take almost everything.
If I might interject or two, one thing to remind the citizens is that food containers have to be rinsed.
Mm-hmm.
We are fine. If they're not, they're considered garbage and they're considered a contamination in our recycling loads. So please rinse your containers and things like that. The other thing there's a couple things that we see in the recycling. The other is plastic films. They're not recyclable in our system.
Plastic what?
Films like plastic wrap
Oh, okay.
Or tinfoil.
and tinfoil is not also. Those 3 things are things we see presently that should not be in the waste stream, or in the recycling stream, excuse me, they should be in the waste stream.
Mayor, what were we choosing a truck tonight?
Yeah,
or?
what was the resolve we needed to come to?
Like I said, I personally would like to see it put in the paper and just give some feedback for the citizens. Good, the bad, it's not really gonna have 2 units wheeling in and out. I would just like to hear from them first, because they haven't had an opportunity to come to any meetings and make any more statements.
But I would, out of respect to all the companies that have bid, I wouldn't want to keep this hanging out too long, because then, they're gonna want to rebid on it. I don't know if the prices will change, I don't know what the processes are charged, but, if we could keep it up for 1 more month or something, I don't know if the word can get out there or not, but.
We're a couple months out on the original bids now, just so you know.
Yeah.
They've already
That's
extended
right.
past the normal holding time for a bid
And that's
by
why,
twice.
as I said, out of respect for the bidding process, we don't want to be waiting too long.
No.
There's some other things we have to also question, get some answers to, is financing for the bids. Are we gonna pay for those again, or are we gonna pass that on to the citizens? The colors, so there is other things we have to answer before we decide what we're gonna get, so.
I feel like we could, we don't have to, but if we were to pick a truck tonight the bins don't need to be part of tonight's decision,
No,
that these trucks can pick up any size bins, so
yes.
you can look into quotes on bins, we can make the financial decisions on how to pay for them. Letting people choose, that kind of thing, because like you said, we'll have to wait for the truck to be built, and we don't know if they're building right now.
No.
So we would maybe want to get in line. Do you, just for discussion, do you have one that you prefer either by price or by
Well, if you look at
specifications?
on this, if you're referring to the one operator sidearm truck, the top one, the demo unit that was spec'd, that is the unit that came up here and was out in the parking lot. And the next one down is that unit as a new unit. We were very pleased with that unit. We did have some other demos. As you go down, those $3 amounts are probably the priority that of preference to the first two have, without specifying names, but some have had good reviews with other communities and some have had not marginal, but not maybe as good. Mostly because of cost of parts on some of them. I wouldn't go down right now into we did not specify a conventional chassis on this. We specified a cab over. And the reason was a couple, one for getting out of the vehicle, one for turning radius on the vehicle, and storage room in our garage. We didn't want to get too long of a truck because then the front end hangs out past everything. And so people provided those bids, but those were not requested. They were modified bids that they did provide to us at the time of the bid opening. So I would concentrate in the top, crossing out the demo unit, the top three there. As far as the rear loaders, all three of them are good, are common rear loaders. And there's not a preference on chassis there.
Which one did we pick? Alderman Luke?
Were you saying the conventional is longer and larger?
The conventional chassis with the sidearm is longer truck, to do the same
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
These are all the same. These are all the cab overs, that's the shorter ones.
Yeah.
This top demo unit is not available.
So out of those top three, then what would be your recommendation to council if council were to?
Well, my preference is the Peterbilt chassis with the Sidewinder body. That is
Okay, the one that came here.
had a good review. The specs are written around that also to be pretty much. Each company has different strengths and weaknesses. So when you do something like this, because each company manufactures a different body, so they're not all the same. They don't all use the same mechanisms for lifting. We did rule out one in our specs. That one had an offset arm. So then when it came out, it needed almost 6 feet of extra, it needed more room coming out, and we just felt that wouldn't work well. So we ruled that out in the specs. All of these ones come out with the arm straight. But they have different lifting mechanisms. Two of them use a chain, like sprocket, not a chain type drive. One uses a sprocket. So the recycling company that we have presently uses the Labrie body, the bid by Wasteville. They use a Labrie body. So just to give you an idea, and then a lot of communities in the valley are using. They're all being used in the general area,
So your recommendation would though still be the Peterbilt cab by Envirotech?
The
Over
Peterbilt cab with the
body?
Sidewinder body, yes.
That's this one here, yeah.
Second one?
Yeah,
The same
the first one's gone, the demo's gone.
How come, they don't make it in Freightliner or International?
Freightliner, and it doesn't make a cab over. The only other cab over out there is Autocar, and there may be other ones, but Autocar is one of them too.
You're pretty much looking for a cab over just for the sense of the,
Cab over, yes, yeah.
just for the storage.
the storage and also where the person sits, there's a little more room. These second ones where they talk about a conventional, those kits for the dual steer are modifications afterwards, so that it takes up foot room to do it. You know, they don't come out of it's something that's added to the truck.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with Bridget, actually, because we've been talking about this for years, about a garbage truck, and, you know, if we get that pickup one, we're gonna have it for how many years? 30 years? We'll be way behind the times, but the details could be worked out after the fact. You could still get something going, you know, take a boat and get that moving, and then find, you know, color, or size, or, you know, I just think that it's better.
See,
And we have talked about
I
it.
view that totally opposite of what you just said. I view it that you represent districts and you should afford the citizens the opportunity to tell you, we have not asked them yet how it's been working out the recyclable bins. You know, to give them 2 or 3 more weeks, I don't think that's asking for too much, you know, before moving forward again. And, I mean, we waited months because of the pandemic, and I just think that we need to afford the citizens the opportunity that
But it's
districts
just,
you
it's just,
represent.
it's just what style truck, that's all. And, you know, for their health, their back, and all, you know, the other issues.
I'm just saying, it would be nice for the citizens to have input on it.
Tammy, we had the financing all worked out, whether we went with the sidearm or the rear loader.
Yes,
That's not in question.
correct.
I guess I haven't heard either way, and we have discussed the truck in the past. If we feel like we need to give them one more opportunity. What date is the May meeting?
See, I don't remember discussing the garbage so much as the recycling truck.
There was a lot more
So-
recycling discussion, but we have discussed the garbage.
But now I'm saying it down,
We've
we
had-
have one already, let's
we've
afford
had
the citizens an
multiple meetings.
opportunity to let us know what they think of it.
The May meeting is on the 4th. Are we
Fifth.
having, or the 5th?
5th is normally, but we were
Gotta do the 12.
discussing maybe going, because that's only 2 weeks, we were thinking with all this going on, maybe going out 3 weeks and doing it the 12th. We were gonna discuss that.
Well, I would just say if we wanted to give them that, or, give the opportunity to write in an opinion for or against, 2 weeks isn't that long. 3 weeks is closer to a month, so I guess depending on when we have our next council meeting, I'd say 2 weeks would be more than enough to give anyone the opportunity that they wanted to write in
Correct.
their opinion. But if we're gonna push the meeting out 3 weeks, then that's kind of a long time. Mike? John has something.
If we get it in the paper tomorrow, which I know she will, it's the 22nd. Even 1 week, they should be able to respond in 1 week. So, Alderman Bear?
We've had these recycling cans for more than 4 months now. I've heard one complaint, and I have talked to just about everybody. I had to walk around and get signatures again this year to run for alderman. I am ready at this time and would like to make a motion to move on the Peterbilt cab over chassis by Sidewinder with the Sidewinder body. We can vote yes, we can vote no, we can wait another 3 weeks, whatever you guys want to do, but I want to make that motion right now and vote aye or nay, and let's just keep moving.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Like I said, I will add, I'm disappointed because you should afford your people you represent an opportunity to, and it's not just where you live, you have a whole district around there.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, you know, what's 2 more weeks, but, so. Any other comments? Take the roll call, please.
Bird?
Now, this is a yes or no here? No.
Banky?
Oh.
Siebert?
Aye.
Luke?
No.
Barron?
Aye.
Schmidt?
definitely set for the 5th or the 12th.
We can set it whichever one everybody wants to set for. That was just Tammy and I talking today because it'd only be 2 weeks from the 5th. So she suggested going to the 12th because it'd be 3 weeks. You want the 5th? So Archer would like the 5th. So we'll stay on the 5th then.
I'll say, no,
And put it on the agenda for the 5th.
and I would like to put it on the agenda for the 5th. I was just gonna say, I don't know if I can make that official in some way to have it voted on or be on the agenda for the 5th. I don't know if there's any.
It will be.
I know, but I just wish there was some other way to communicate it in addition to the paper, because I don't know that the paper reaches everyone. I know that it is our official communication and.
We can put it on our website, Tammy, too, as well?
We can. I don't know that we get a lot of traffic on there,
I
but
know.
If we asked Sean, he would probably put it on the
Oh, I'm
Park
sure he
and Rec
would.
Facebook page.
Yes,
Well, I
yes.
know he would. But can I make it a motion to give anyone because we've set limits before on other things, I want to make it very clear that I'd say that the letters, the opinions, we need time to read them. So
If we
by
go
the
up,
4th or by the 1st, could they arrive by the 1st? And that would give us 1 weekday before our meeting date, so 2 weekdays in total to come in and read them.
Alderman Benke.
I had a question. You still have authoritative powers to do certain items as mayor during this pandemic, correct? I would suggest that you could use those powers to get some kind of information out there, whether it be even a possible mailing or something that could go out to a separate mailing that goes out to all the water sewer people in the city. I mean, it'd be a little cost, but, you know, I think it's worth it. I think we could use that.
Or just put it on our website, on the paper. We could put postings on every business entrance.
yeah, I don't think we have.
Whatever you-
Mailing and
Right.
the expense.
Yeah. Alderman Schmidt?
I
Suggestion.
don't think that's a bad idea, but I am still on the same page with John in that we have discussed it before and people have had a long time to share their opinion, whether for or against, not just because we asked for it. I haven't heard anything negative, and we have discussed the garbage truck before, not since getting the recycling truck have we had a real thorough discussion, but,
I think the biggest question would be a matter of size, like what size they would want.
and we can get that information and share that because we haven't made that decision and we have the ability to.
But
do
you don't
stuff.
need that in order to, to vote on which model you need.
Right.
Exactly what the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, John.
I mean, people still get a choice between a 60 or a 90 gallon bin. So it's,
Just to get things rolling.
We have to make the decision based on our knowledge that we've collected here, not, unfortunately, there's other things that go into it, where to store your bin and what size you need for your home, but we have to make the best decision based on how it affects our city employees and, like you said, you're looking at a rear loader and keeping it for 30 years. Many cities, like we were one of the last to get automated recycling pickup. I don't think we would want a rear loader 20 years from now. So I'm confident that this is the truck that we're gonna go with, but I don't discount people wanting to share their opinion. don't know.
We're gonna plan on meeting, have the next council meeting on May 5th. We'll give the citizens 2 weeks opportunity to give us their feedback on how the recycling, how they viewed the, you know, and we owe that to the people you represent, so.
We do, it's just sometimes it's hard to handle the negative feedback that doesn't necessarily take into account everything that goes into making that decision as to what truck to get, so.
Any other discussion? You voted no.
I think so.
Yes.
4-2.
So we'll put this back on the May 5th agenda for that night.
Can we make it clear that it's written in? I'm sorry, I spoke out of turn again, but
We'll make sure it's on the next agenda.
I know that the responses, just to make it clear that it's written and not emailed, because our emails don't always work. The city emails. So,
You need for them to turn them into me, or,
by mail.
I mean, if somebody calls or if they want to email it, as long as they have their name and stuff on it, I wouldn't see a problem.
I guess I was just worried about how the information was gonna be collected. I don't want somebody to feel like their opinion was missed. If it all comes in the same
Great.
avenue, they'll all be seen, where I know you're very busy in the office and don't necessarily have to be taking messages on garbage truck discussions. Just a letter usually works out better because they can clearly write in how they feel without it just being a message for or against.
Anyone else?
Can the Street and Drainage Committee be the ones responsible to go through those letters?
Sure, excellent. And
Are
then
we
bring-
having meetings now?
If it's not a meeting, if you're one
Right.
at a time.
Yeah, we'll have them here. So we'll see how many we get.
Until the 1st?
Yes.
So, and
So each
do we need a
one's-
motion to make it official? Or is it just a consensus?
Mike, would we need, you're the Robert's Rules person, would we need a motion for that for the first? Or can we just say the first?
I would, is it, would it be a special meeting, right?
It's gonna be our regular council meeting on the 5th. But to have these letters back,
Oh, no, I thought, yeah, you should put that in motion.
okay. Go ahead, Bridget, put it in motion. Archer, did you want to?
Yeah, I just further comment on that is, you know, the reason I'm thinking streets and drainage, I mean, that's her purview, but it also is a good representation of all of us, because you've got a yes, a no, and a hesitant, and, you know, so I would trust you guys, you know, the three of you to make that decision. And then bring it to us so that we can vote on it.
That sounds good. So you want to put that in form of a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept letters by mail sharing the opinion of
Could you add one thing already to that? I'm sorry. Do you have a Dropbox now? If you can put it in the Dropbox outside City Hall?
And mail or Dropbox.
mail or Dropbox by Friday, the 1st of May. And I just feel like making it official that it has to be written and by the 1st, just so people know when they need to get it in to share their opinion, but it's by no means a vote. I'm sure people
Is there a second?
understand that.
Oh, and not postmarked by then, it has to be in by then.
Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Now any more discussion for that?
And do I add to that motion that it will be voted on the 5th of May?
You can. It's gonna be put back on the agenda for that date.
It hasn't been seconded yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Archer seconded.
I mean, I could put
He
it
can make
in-
a separate motion.
I can put in the minutes, otherwise that it will be placed on the agenda. That's up to you.
Anyone else?
Can I amend my motion?
Okay?
And to be voted on the 5th?
Good for your second.
Second.
Oliver Bear.
How are these letters gonna be set out to each one of us? If we're each getting a copy, so we can each read it before the meeting on Tuesday, when they've gotta be in Friday by what time? Is somebody gonna make copies on Saturday and drop them off for us? We gotta pick them up on Monday? I just don't understand. If we're each getting a copy,
I just think all of them make it come in between Monday and Tuesday sometime and take a look at them, instead of having copies of everything.
Either that, or if you want me to
I just
scan
knew we were
or
supposed to
email.
do it
I can
separate, so I
scan and
didn't know.
email.
Right.
Okay,
Or send a copy and put them in a packet, and one of the police officers will drop them off at your home. They're always looking for something to do every once in a while.
So, any other discussion?
So Bridget amended it in the second.
Archer seconded it.
Oh,
It's got to be like 70 degrees in here.
And we'll
So,
call whenever you're ready then.
okay, so this vote is just on amending it. Banky,
Aye.
Sievert,
No, where I am now.
We're just amending, just say
Okay.
aye.
that we're voting on it by
Aye.
April 5th of council. Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Sorry, Joe.
and then a vote on the main motion as amended.
Yes.
Sievert,
Aye.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
10 license and police.
License and police, you have a incident report, and that is all.
Such other matters as authorized by law. Again, I just want to congratulate newly seated Alderman Berth. Thank you for giving your time to the city. I appreciate that. And everybody else, thank you. Have a great night, be safe. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Second.
Luke,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Berth,
Aye.
Banky,
Aye.
Sievert.
Aye.
So that drop off, should you spray and everything with Lysol before you take it out?
It's all recorded now.